I remember the day that I signed that resignation letter, I would wake up every single day. I was working from home. All I had to do was walk in the other room. I would wake up every day, like literally crying, telling myself, I cannot do this. In a way, it was just guiding me to where I am today. Ask a multi-passionate creator how it feels to try and put every single thing that you do into one box, and they're going to tell you that it feels like absolute hell until you let all of those gifts roam free and just be what it's meant to be without having to niche down. That's what I feel like most business owners suffer with, and speaking for myself, that would wrap up how life has been for me as a creative entrepreneur lately, trying to put everything that I do into one box. I'm finally in a place where I need to build this thing in public. How I got here to building a systems-led brand and content agency. So welcome back. I am Keisha Andrea, multi-passionate creator, brand storyteller, and your favorite brand and content strategist. And I use this channel to talk about my experiences as a multi-passionate creative entrepreneur and encourage you to share your gifts, cultivate all of those gifts, share them with the world, tell your story, and build wealth with those gifts without sacrificing your well-being. I wish I could talk about everything that I went through in this one video, but I am really serious about building this agency. I've had a photography business for the last 8 years, and again, it's feel like I've had to confine all of my gifts to that one thing, photography. So now I'm able to spread my wings. It feels like there's a few things that got me here, but there's one thing. So I had a great opportunity over the last year, and I attended this cohort. It was 6-8 week. I forget the number. Had to spend every Saturday for hours in that class. And it was very eye-opening, and it helped me to evolve into building this agency. In the cohort, the first couple of weeks, what we had to do was pitch our business in front of the whole class. So just a backstory on the cohort. It was about 30 people that were selected to be in this cohort to get a grant up to $50,000 to build the foundation and fund your business. And at the end of the cohort, you were granted that money for your business. So it was 30 of us. It was maybe like hundreds of people that applied for this, and it was 30 of us chosen. So we're now all in this class. The first couple of classes, we had to pitch ourselves to the whole class. And when I tell y'all, I was so nervous. It was something that I know that I needed because I wouldn't have been able to confine all of the things that I do into one. So I'm pitching my business. I'm like, yeah, I got this. Like, I do branding and marketing. Like, you can't tell me I don't know how to pitch, but boy, was I wrong. So I did my little spiel and I did my little pitch. The instructor, she was like, well, that just sounds like any other photography business. Like, we were taking constructive criticism from everybody. So there's no judgment, no shade. I was a little cockeyed at first, like, any other photography business, no, that's not what I'm doing. She had a point. What I did, I took my butt back on home and I tried to figure out, I didn't try to, I actually did it. I figured out a way to put most, not all, most of my gifts into this one business, which is how we came to be a systems-led brand and content agency. When I went back home, I started asking all of these different questions, like, how can I make photography better? How can my customers get everything that they need without it feeling superficial? I've talked about this before, how photography and the aesthetics, like, that's what social media has come to be. And quite frankly, I'm tired of it because I'm a business owner. Like, I have gifts that I share with the world through my business, but I'm a business owner at the end of the day. I have bills to pay. So when people come to me, they're in the same position. They have bills to pay. They are using their gifts to build a business to make them money so they can pour back into themselves so they can feed their families. So when you start to get brand photography and it's just about aesthetics, it doesn't do that. You can't feed your family with aesthetics. It was just feeling very superficial. And I'm, for the last 2 or 3 years, been trying to figure out how I can get out of that space. And I considered leaving photography so many times because of that. It just felt so superficial. What I came back to, my motto for the business for a while has been great brands create great experiences. And what that means is social media is only one part of creating content. When most people think about content creation, they think about social media, reels, shorts, short form content, but stuff like this on YouTube or blogs, podcasts, and then going away from social media, you think about SEO, Google, the experience that your customers have when you onboard them. What does that process look like? Do you even have a lead magnet after social media? Is it leading somebody to something, or are you just creating content just to be creating content? So all across the customer experience, that's where I build content and build systems. So coming out of just being a brand photographer, but a strategist and, kind of operational manager, like any system, that's who I am. I am a systems girl to my core. I try to find ways to create systems to make this easier because it's hard being a business owner. It's hard having to handle all of these different parts of the business. Number one, feeling like you're going to burn yourself out. And secondly, just feeling like it's your business, so you have to do it all. And it's kind of hard to pass it off to somebody else. I feel like I'm called to take off all of these hats, put them all together, the systems, helping build in the systems, photography, branding, content. I just want people to understand that as a content strategist, that is where I feel like I'm unique, because I don't think of content as just for social media. When you come to me, I want people to create content for all the parts of the business. So for social media, when you're trying to get visibility, you're trying to get awareness, that's going to make people aware of who you are. But once they actually come into getting to know you or getting to know you a little bit more, you have some YouTube content, you have some courses, you have a video sales letter on a landing page, you have funnels set up. Those are all things that I love to do, and I love to do it because it makes the business so much easier. I don't know where I would be if I wasn't able to use tools like Honeybook, setting up workflows, automations, having Notion hold all of my ideas and it doesn't have to stay up here, creating different dashboards, using services like MailerLite and setting up my email automations and creating email sequences. So once somebody comes on and downloads a free product, like for weeks, they're getting content from me and I'm at home playing with my babies, or I am asleep somewhere. So that's the beauty in creating content for all parts of the business. That's where I am right now. I have a agency. I didn't mention the backstory of even the business. Since 2020, I cut off everything. I was doing all kinds of photography before that. 2020, I just cut off everything and said, I'm only doing brands. I'm only working with businesses. And then here and there, when people ask me, I might do a maternity shoot, a birthday shoot. But for the most part, the business front facing was strictly brands and businesses. And the reason why I got there is because I was so burnt out. I hated what I do. Well, I didn't hate it, but I resented it so much because it was a lot to take on, all of these different things that I have to do in a business to be sustainable. I wasn't able to manage all of those things, especially when life goes on. Personal things happen all the time. In the last 5-6 years, I went through a divorce, postpartum depression, having to move out of a studio after having issues with a studio partner, going through homelessness and still going through homelessness kind of right now. I'm grateful that I'm in a safe space. But yeah, life goes on. I don't want to give my whole life story, at least not now. All of those things go on, and then you like, I gotta run a business too. So it can really make you resent your business. And what I've come down to is you gotta have the systems and you gotta stick to those systems to really take you away from those parts of the business that you don't enjoy. So you can focus on the things that you do best and outsource the rest to people who are good at those things. I've had a business for 8 years now. In 2017, not long after I had my daughter, I started doing photography officially. And I started that because my son, I was paying like $500 or more every time I wanted to get pictures done for my son. So I went and bought a camera. And honestly, I was always the person in schools, like taking pictures, keeping the memories, documenting everything. But I didn't really look at it as something that I can make money from. So when I started paying for pictures for my son, I'm like, you know what, I can do this. So went and got a camera, started taking pictures, took my first like $75 client in November of 2017, and it's been history since then. But back in 2017, I was taking all kinds of photos. Any kind of photo anybody would ask me to do, I would do it. And then at that time, I was working for a big tech company. I won't name them, but we all have their devices. Like, you know what it is. So working at that tech company, that became tiring. I wanted more time with my kids. I wanted to be able to be free, have weekends free, have more time with my kids. I didn't want them to be in the school system. So I left that job. I remember the day that I signed that resignation letter, I would wake up every single day and I was working from home. All I had to do was walk in the other room to go to work at this tech company. I would wake up every day, like literally crying, telling myself, I cannot do this. It was a lot on me mentally, but in a way, it was just guiding me to where I am today. So I left them. And then I went full time in my business, and that was in 2019. I can't remember, but it was not long after I started, and I just quit and I went full time in my business. At that time, I was doing more weddings, and I was doing like 40 to 50 weddings a year. I had a couple of mentors. They let me second shoot with them, and then I started doing it on my own, and then it took off, and I replaced my income with the tech company. It was within like a year, so it must have been 2018. But I replaced that income, was making the same amount that I was making at the tech company. And then eventually I realized that that was a lot. It seemed like a good thing because now I'm doing something that I love. I'm making money doing something that I love. But like I said, I left that tech company because I wanted to spend more time with my kids. And if you know, weddings is a lot. I have beautiful memories, and I've taken photos for a lot of couples, and I'm grateful to be able to give people those memories. But that ended up being a lot for me because it was taking up my weekends. The industry is very catty. Weddings, in a sense, weren't about the love, in my opinion. It was more like a show. That was something I didn't want to do. And like I said, in 2020, I just cut it all off and I said that I'm not going to do that anymore. And that's how I am here. So what I'm going to do is do this in the public. I've contemplated this for a long time because if anybody knows, when you decide to put yourself out there, it's a lot of thoughts that go in across your mind. It can be limiting sometimes, and it's very fear-based. And I am putting myself out here this time, grounding myself in the idea that people need to see what it's like behind the scenes as a solo entrepreneur. How can you scale your business up without sacrificing your well-being? If you know, you know. If you've been here, you know that is the base of what I do. Running your business without sacrificing your well-being at the end of the day. So y'all are going to see some of the systems, and my boyfriend and my friends, like, I'd be telling them all of the stuff that I do in my business, and they're like, oh my God, this is so good. Like, people should be able to see this, but all the public knows me as, for the most part, is a photographer. I'll admit it's a little frustrating, and I do want to show more of what I do. So I am this is the first episode, the intro of the series, and what I'm gonna do is show how I'm building this agency. Probably not all parts of it, key things. I'm going to be showing how I build the things. Maybe it'll inspire you to do the same in your business. Maybe it'll inspire you to hire your girl to help you out with those things in your business. Feel free as you watch the series to share it with another business owner, your business best friend, and ask any questions. I would love to create more videos on these things going forward and share this journey with the public out loud, because essentially that's what I feel like I'm called to do. Live my life as a creative entrepreneur and build my business and do the things that crafty people, creative people in my family who had like side hustles as business, and it never scaled. So I feel like I'm here, at least now in this lifetime, to go a little further, do what my great grandmother, Josie B. Caldwell, she had a lot of creative gifts, a lot of things. She passed those down to my grandmother, then to my mother. My mother is crafty, and they've all dibble and dabbled in different creative things, but nobody has taken it as far as what I have done. That I feel like I'm even tearing up just saying that out loud right now, because they have went through their journeys and they've struggled. Maybe they did have desires to make a business out of it. I don't really know for sure, but I do know that this is our birthright as Black business owners, as Black creatives, to be able to build sustainable wealth with our gifts. And the only way that you can do that is by systemizing the business, creating systems that allow you to be free to do the things that you really love to do, to take you away from the admin tasks, to take you away from creating content if that's not your thing, and so many other things. You know, I can't name all of the things that we do in business as business owners, but I do feel like it's a lot. It is a lot being a business owner, being a creative, loving what you do, but kind of falling out of love with what you do because you have all of these hats that you're supposed to wear, and it's all things that you don't love to do. So that's where I am. And so that was a lot. Hopefully that brings you all up to speed on what I've been going through, where I am now, and I'm really excited about this next phase of the journey. I would love to share this experience with you. So if you're here, thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Let me know down in the comments where you are in your business. If anything in this video resonated with you, of course, I would love to hear that. And stay tuned, because every week I am going to be showing and talking about all of the things that I'm doing to build this systems-led brand and content agency. So I'm going to see you all in the next video. Thank you for tuning in. I love y'all. Peace. Happy creating.